Hello and welcome. My name is Juliana Higgins. I'm a spiritual coach, self-love coach, and life purpose coach. That's a lot of coaching. Well, today I'm going to tell you all about what coaching is and what it is not, so stay tuned. So the biggest question I get about coaching is, how is it different from therapy? And why would I hire a coach out of pocket when I can find a therapist covered through my health insurance? First of all, if you're in a state of dysfunction where you're not sleeping or eating normally, you've lost interest in your life, you're experiencing extreme emotions following a traumatic event, and you're not able to function in a healthy way, then you need to see a therapist. If you have any suicidal thoughts or want to hurt yourself or others, get help immediately. Like right now, call 911, call the suicide hotline, get help, because that is not a situation where coaching will help you. So the biggest difference between coaching and therapy is that in order to be coached, you have to have some sort of baseline where you're taking care of yourself and you're not entirely dysfunctional. Yes, therapy is great at other times as well when you're functioning, but have some things you'd like to work through to improve your life. And therapy is really great for talking through past or current situations at length to understand what happened or what is happening and how to change how you feel about those situations. Coaching can offer a space to talk through those things as well, but the way in which we work through those things are very different. First of all, coaching focuses on you as the ultimate authority in your life. As your coach, I can help guide you and teach you different techniques to overcome what's blocking you from taking action in your life, but it's not prescribed to you the way like a treatment plan would be that a therapist would provide. I was talking about this the other day when somebody asked me, why would I not go and get a therapist? Well, if you think about the process of going to therapy, it usually starts with looking for someone through your insurance. You're looking for a provider, you're looking for a service, you're looking for someone, an authority figure, to tell you what's wrong with you, give you a treatment, you show up to your appointment, and then ideally in time you feel better. Well, coaching is the opposite. You have to find the authority within yourself. You hire a coach to help you uncover that inner authority. It's like making a change from the inside out versus the outside in. With therapy, you're looking for outside support, and that's really helpful when you're in a state of dysfunction. Like I said, you can't take care of yourself the way that you normally would or what's in a healthy way. Like that is therapy. And usually you need, when you're in that state, like you need somebody guiding you, holding you through it, prescribing medication at times. Like I'm not against any of these things. There's a clear difference when it's therapy and when it's a coaching issue. And in therapy, like you need other people to really support you to get to a state where you can then function on your own. And I know this because I've been there. And I know at certain times in life and for certain situations, therapy is the best choice. But when you get to a point where you don't need support like that and you can manage, then coaching is not paying a provider for a service of giving you the answers. The coach holds space for you to get your own transformation. And it's so much more powerful because you are in the driver's seat. You choose where to go, how to get there, and what makes most sense for you. Maybe you're tired of living out the same situations, the same frustrations over and over again, year after year. You already know how to function in your life. You have an idea of the psychological reasons behind your behavior, but maybe you're still not fully where you want to be with yourself. You struggle with negative self-talk and are pretty hard on yourself on the inside, but nobody can give you on the inside what you need better than what you can give yourself. I'm going to say that again because that's really important here. Nobody can give you on the inside what you need better than what you can give yourself. Coaching is not about getting results from a coach. Coaching is about making an investment into discovering your greatest medicine, whatever that is. It's so unique and specific to what you need. Only you know what that is. But with the help of a coach who's trained to guide you without any judgments or imposing their beliefs or their own solution, sessions, you can discover the answers to your questions much more effectively than if you didn't work with a coach. Hiring a coach is not about needing a diagnosis. Hiring a coach is not about needing someone to tell you how to be better. Hiring a coach is about hiring someone who is trained in helping you uncover your truth. And not all coaches are this kind of coach. You have a lot of different kinds of coaches out there, a lot of different levels of expertise, a lot of different levels of understanding about what coaching really is. And that's fine, because even if those coaches that are not the most technical coaches or whatnot, truly, the beauty of coaching is you are engaging in a space where a human is holding space for you. A human is there for you. You're getting live support versus a chatbot. Think about it. What would you prefer? Some people, just texting, chatting with a bot is enough. But if you're like me, then I get on the phone and I call and I talk to a person. I want that live support, especially if it's something that's really tricky and, you can't just get it out in a sentence or two. So a lot of different kinds of coaching are still very valuable. Someone who really understands coaching knows how to hold space for you, and they know the process of growth because likely they've gone through it themselves. They know that it's not going to be easy at times. They know the kinds of fears you're going to have, the kinds of resistance you're going to have to change. It's such a nuanced process that it really takes someone who has gone through it and on the other side to reach their hand out and hold it out to you and be like, do you trust me? It's like a trust fall. Do you trust me enough to let me help you trust yourself? And that is where the exchange is, because we are social beings. It's in our nature to seek human connection. Humans need connection. They get a lot of information from being in social circles and community, that it's so important to have social support. And so I'm not telling you that as your coach, I know what works best for you. Because I've been through it, I am now holding the door open for you to walk through it yourself. Because I'm human and I have the experience and training. You also have experience and you know what works for you. Who would I be to say that I know what's best for you? I can only show you what you're not seeing, be that mirror for you. And in turn, you get what you need out of the exchange. But only you know what you're looking for. And you might be thinking, but I have no idea. What is wrong with me? I have no idea. You know deep down. And it's just a process to get there. Actually being able to be honest with yourself, of finding your truth. In truth is honesty. You don't get the truth without being honest. So let me help you get honest with yourself. Find your truth, because it's there and it wants to be found. It wants to be found. Your truth is just waiting for you to be more honest with yourself about whatever it is that it means. It wants to be found. And you don't always have to find it with the help of other people, because your intuition is always guiding you. But if you find yourself being blocked inner wisdom, then you need to reach your hand out. Grab onto not just anything. Don't grab onto distractions like scrolling on Instagram for hours. Don't grab onto unhealthy vices like binge eating or drinking. Don't reach your hand out looking for distraction. Of course, there's a time and a place for healthy distraction, but if you want to get to the next step, your hand is out. Imagine you're up high on a staircase or cliff where there's a gap. You climbed 1,000 steps to get to the top of this mountain, and you get to the 100th step, 1,000th step, whatever, and there's a huge gap where you are and the place you're trying to go to. You just need someone on that other side to reach their hand out, and you can hop over that gap to get to the top of the mountain. That's what coaching is. It's just connecting with somebody on the other side to close the gap. So long story short, coaching is self-guided in a way, yet you have an experienced guide helping to show you where your blind spots are. And it really is a different experience than therapy. It can be therapeutic when you talk things out, when you get a chance to vent, when you feel heard, when you're validated. That part of it is therapeutic in a sense, but because therapy requires extensive, schooling, licensing, it is regulated. we don't do anything that would be therapy in a coaching session. Therapy is for when you're in a state of dysfunction. You need a more, the word that comes to mind is like urgent, this sense of urgency in the need of your care in therapy. It's not exactly like that with a coach. Like maybe if you have that kind of relationship, I'm not like totally dismissing that, but it's more like when you're in a coaching container, which is like, the sessions you've signed on with a coach, like you've agreed to doing a certain amount of sessions per week or a month or whatever. That's like the container. When you're in that container, yes, you can reach out to your coach when you're feeling like stuck and you want their feedback, but it's not like they're going to respond right away. I mean, if they do, that's great, but like more about having the stability to go through the process when you're in coaching. What I love about coaching is the sense of empowerment that coaching can help you cultivate. I won't even say give you, because it helps you cultivate this sense of empowerment yourself. Coaching gives you back your power to make your own decisions, to be the authority of your life. And it really starts to change the narrative, especially if you're dealing with negative self-talk and self-doubt, self-worth. Like it is an ongoing exercise of taking action, taking ownership, taking back your power. And there's just nothing else that I've ever experienced quite like it. And there's a lot of different ways to get involved with coaching. Some people prefer group coaching. Personally, I love one-on-one coaching because it feels very, for me, it's just like that's the best thing for me, to get one-on-one, like feedback and response and support on things that I'm dealing with, not necessarily in a group setting. Group coaching is great for also then finding community, but you don't always get a lot of one-on-one, and you don't get a lot of like finger on the pulse kind of coaching, which you get more of in the more personalized one-on-one coaching. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is what is spiritual coaching? Because, okay, maybe you've heard about life coaching, but spiritual coaching is like, what is that? And it's not as out there as you would think. Like the way that I think about it is, spirituality is how you connect to whatever you think is outside of yourself, whether it's the divine, it's God, it's the universe, it's your higher self, your higher power, your intuition, nature, whatever it is outside of you that inspires you, the things that like your ego doesn't tell you, the things that aren't connected necessarily to your ego, as I think of like your identity and who you are in this body, but your spiritual self is who you are outside of your body. It's not even your mind, because your mind can speak with the ego in the driver's seat as well. So it's the voice in your mind tells you to go for it, tells you, to make a change, the inspiration. Like that voice is coming from your spiritual side. So spiritual coaching is just life coaching with a spiritual aspect to it. In spiritual coaching, and as a spiritual coach, we bring in your connection to the divine, or whatever you call it. It's very flexible in that sense. You can be religious or not. It's really how you relate to God, the universe, etc. And it invites that connection, or works on building that connection to look at the things that are happening in your life from that spiritual perspective, a perspective that's, outside of the mundane, outside of just talking about time management, things like that. Like it gets a lot deeper and totally optional, especially if you coach with me. Like if you want to be more of a spiritual client or just a regular life coaching client, like I am flexible in that, where it's, like I said, it's about you. Like, what do you want? If you don't want to go into the spiritual stuff, that's fine. But a lot of people say that they get a lot of fulfillment out of connecting with their spiritual self, even if they, previously didn't think that they had a connection. There are ways to work on deepening that connection. And it's like any kind of muscle you exercise. It's not, especially if you haven't been to the gym in a long time, it's not like you're going to be, super fit to begin with. Like you work on those muscles and you try different exercises, you use different tools or weights, whatever, to build that capacity for strength. And so in spiritual coaching, that's one aspect of it. If it's something you want to work on, building your spiritual side, it's like we work on discovering ways to help you connect deeper to your intuition. Going back to spirituality, religion, like you have to ask yourself like how strict you are with your religion. If you are very traditional in your beliefs, you may not have room in your perspective right now to allow to be both a practicing person of your religion and also explore these somewhat unconventional ways of thinking about God. So you have to ask yourself where you are and if that's a good fit for working with someone like me, who I was raised in a religion. I was raised Catholic. I still participate in that religion in a lot of ways, but I'm very open to looking at God from a lot of different angles. And so some people who are strict Catholics might say that that's not right. At the end of the day, I've found that I do what's best for me. I take what works for me and I leave the rest. There's a lot of good things that come out of the traditions of religion and the message is there. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with, so I leave that part aside. And, I've just been able to open my mind over the years to different religions. I've studied world religion, so I've studied the philosophies of Buddhism, Judaism, Islam, Native American culture, Shintoism. There's just so many different types of religion, and it fascinates me. But that is definitely something that is a consideration going down this path. I want you to know that whatever you believe in is safe with me. I am here to hold the space for you, and it's a safe space. So just because I was raised with certain fundamentals doesn't mean that I'm not open to things that are important to you. I also talked about self-love coaching and life purpose coaching. And you might be asking yourself, well, what does that really mean? It really just means that in self-love coaching, that is the focus. We focus on techniques and methods to build back your sense of self-love or establish it if honestly you've never had that before. And it's different from regular coaching. I mean, regular coaching can encompass all these things, but self-love coaching is something that I personally specialize in because it's something that I've had to go through myself. And so I feel that I can directly speak to the experiences that usually come along with not having much self-love, not even like having a self-care practice, having low self-worth, doubting yourself, people pleasing, just a myriad of things, boundary issues, trust issues, not being able to trust yourself. Like, to me, these all fall in under like self-love coaching, because when you have a strong sense of yourself and you deeply and completely love yourself, all those things melt away. And so I think it's really important, and I would love to work with people to help them really look past the surface. That's the other thing that I specifically with like the ideas of mirrors and Mystic Mirror Muse, it's about going beyond the surface, and self-love is beyond the surface. What you see on the outside is just a projection of how you feel on the inside. So self-love coaching is just geared towards getting your self-esteem back on track, dealing with boundary issues, learning how to trust yourself. It's really about putting yourself first in the most unconditional and loving way. Like, I truly believe that by being able to love ourselves, then fully able to love others, and it just releases a lot of attachment that we can make with people when we don't have a lot of self-love in place. The other part that I specialize in is life purpose coaching, and that's when you're feeling like you don't have a direction, or maybe your direction needs to change and you don't know where to go, and you really just feel lost, like so lost, and you almost don't want to admit it because you've been going on living your life the way you have been up until this point. And so it's hard to admit to ourselves sometimes when we feel like we don't have a purpose in life, or we're not following our direction because we've made it this far. It's like, I'm not an idiot. It's not day one for me. I wasn't born yesterday. Like, I should be able to figure out what my life purpose is, but it's not that easy when you are constantly second guessing yourself. So in life purpose coaching, we use some other tools to start going into discovering what that is. What sparks your joy? Like, what really could be a direction for you, and then holding space for you, holding support while you transition. As someone who is transitioning into a different career, has had to make a huge identity shift to support that change. Like, I've been through that, and I feel that it is my purpose to help you find your life purpose. So it's really about helping you feel more on track, or maybe you're just curious of seeing if where you are now lines up with what the bigger plan is for you. And the way that we look at that is, I am a big advocate for, in astrology, looking at your birth chart and also knowing your human design. In my introduction in this video series, I talked about my placements, and I mentioned how learning my astrology and human design were pivotal in me feeling more at home in myself, having a language to speak to the way that I've always been, but didn't really have the courage to show up that way in my life. So life purpose coaching is really about feeling at home in yourself, and also feeling good about the direction and action you're taking in your life. So that's coaching in a nutshell. And of course, if you are considering coaching for yourself or want to recommend it to somebody else, reach out. If not me, then someone else to talk it through. Because again, what's better than a human connection? What's better than getting live support from a human? If this video was helpful for you, I'd love if you could let me know, share, pass it along, DM me, whatever. Let's talk about it. I'm really curious to know if I answered your questions or if I left you with more. For now, I'm going to end this, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned for the next video in this series. I will be giving you a peek of the candle collection, a little behind the scenes, and telling you all about the story behind the flame.